Cults in Korea are unfortunately very common, to the point where tourists are given tips on how to not unknowingly be lured into cults by strangers on the street. Yes, the issue is that serious. I mean, even Netflix covered the topics of cults in the drama Hellbound. But other than clueless tourists and members who aren't known to the public, there are also idols and actors who belong to some of the many cults in South Korea. So what is the link between them in the entertainment industry, and who are the idols who have been exposed to be part of them? Let's dive into it. South Korea has a history of cult organizations and charismatic religious leaders, some of whom have amassed enormous amounts of wealth and influence. Out of the many cults in the country, there are at least 6 of them who previously attracted controversy or had issues with the law. One of them is Shintonji, who received global attention last year when it was the center of what was, at the time, the biggest COVID outbreak in Korea. More than 5,000 cases of COVID infection were linked to the church, and at one point, it was calculated to represent 60% of the cases in the country. In a country where the population is nearly universally known for following the rules by social distancing and mask wearing, there was an outrage that the church was disregarding these rules. But with this news also came the reports of certain idols and actors who were rumored to be a part of it. The names mentioned were Gummy, Namguri, Ivy, Lee Dong-wook, and wait for it, Cheonghwa herself, among others. Of course, everyone would deny being involved with the cult. Lee Dong-wook's agency said that it would take legal actions against all rumor mongers. Gummy's agency also threatened to take legal actions against malicious commenters who spread false rumors. Cheonghwa herself stated, "I think there's a misconception that I'm a Shintonji member. My staff and I don't have any connection or affiliation with it." Not only that, but Shintonji also used BTS's names to attract people to their cult, despite BTS not being affiliated with them in any way. A method that was revealed to the public by netizens was their BTS method, where the members would name drop BTS in an attempt to get newcomers to attend their Bible studies. Their promotional flyer also was produced to use BTS as an acronym for Bible Teaching Shintonji. Insane, I know. But who are the idols that really belong to some of the cults or were almost recruited to join them? Park Po-gum. By now, pretty much everyone is aware of the controversy surrounding Park Po-gum and his church, arguably cult, the Jesus-centered church. Park Po-gum has stirred the anger of fans in both Korea and internationally for promoting a prayer assembly organized by the Jesus-centered church. The reason why he received so much backlash was not because he chose to follow a certain religion, but rather because he was promoting a group that was widely known to be a cult. Because of that, Park Po-gum stood his ground to defend his beliefs. He justified that he is just an average Christian, and that the church where he goes to is neither a cult nor a different religion, and nothing unusual is going on. He added, "I am not part of a cult or a new world order. If I was, I would have left already." What is so bad about the Jesus-centered church, though? Firstly, it's worth noting that the Jesus-centered church is widely considered to be a cult by both the people and the churches in Korea. But the largest concern, and by far the biggest red flag, is the supposed healing miracles that the Jesus-centered church claims to deliver. These supposedly miraculous events include the curing of cancer, curing a crippled woman unable to move her neck and lower back, and the curing of a child's leg. The promotion of false remedies and healing is extremely dangerous, as it often leads those who are ill to refuse genuine medical treatment in favor of faith healing. This is the reason why Po-gum found himself as part of the cult in the first place. Pastor Lee To-sak gave Po-gum his name and is credited by Park as having healed him miraculously at a young age. His father spoke up about fearing Po-gum was, as a baby, describing him as resembling a corpse. Where doctors were supposedly negative about his recovery, his pastor insisted his father discharge him from the hospital and engage in prayer. According to his father, Po-gum made a miraculous recovery. Of course, no one can tell anyone what to believe, but it seems a little bit disturbing. Super Junior's Eunhyuk. You learn something new every day, and a member of a top boy group being publicly associated with a cult is one of them, I guess. Raised a devout Catholic by his parents, Eunhyuk joined the Central Church of People and has been nurturing his faith. Now comes the really icky part. The church was ejected from the Christian Council of Korea in April 1999 over a heretical claim allegedly made by Lee Jae-rok in July 1998 when he stated that he was sinless and exempted from. That's exactly what the church is known for. Its extreme beliefs that Pastor Lee Jae-rok is God's shepherd and bestowed with special authority and healing powers which has cured diseases. This already gave me deja vu from the previous entry, but you know what else this sinless pastor is known for? In 2018, Lee Jae-rok was jailed for 8 female followers of his megachurch. He, of course, denied all charges. When talking about the church, Eunhyuk said that while watching many people being healed by the prayer of Lee Jae-rok, his heart was deeply touched by the work of the living God, even though he was very little at the time. Eunhyuk also confessed that whenever he attended worship services at the church and met with the pastor even briefly, he felt refreshed and reinvigorated. In his exact words, "I'm so grateful for my family and relatives who support me with prayer. I am also grateful for the senior pastor who always gives me kind words of advice." I couldn't find anything on whether he made a statement about the pastor's arrest or the accusations against him, but it's highly highly doubtful that he would speak on it. JYP. Trust JYP to be involved in shady business of any kind. Even more surprising, it was Dispatch who exposed him as being part of a cult. Get comfortable because this is going to be a long one. JYP was accused by Dispatch as being part of the Salvation Sect, a cult group that was linked with the Sewol Ferry tragedy. Some of the other idols who are suspected to be a part of the cult are Big Bang's Taeyoung and his wife, SES's Hyunjin and her husband, but none of them were confirmed members. According to the investigation, JYP held a meeting on March 21st, 2018 that was allegedly for the Salvation Cult. JYP allegedly set up the meeting to help recruit people for the cult. Dispatch staff personally attended the meeting to gather evidence and voice recordings from the event. They really used their investigation powers in this case. JYP's meeting took place over 7 days with extremely influential people in attendance, along with Salvation Sect leader Byung-gi-tun. Once the meeting concluded, JYP headed over to the restaurant to have dinner with those who attended. But who is the Salvation Sect, and how could a cult be involved in the Sewol Ferry incident? The Salvation Sect has been accused of being a cult that's heavily involved in pyramid schemes. They have been investigated by the Korean police on numerous occasions. Media reports also claim that members are hired more easily at companies connected to the cult. Donations from members are used by the head leader as collateral to receive loans. The Salvation Sect has their hands in numerous businesses, including ones that caused the Sewol Ferry tragedy with their neglect and mismanagement. The Salvation Sect has been linked to the Sewol Ferry through leader Yoo Byung-gun and other Salvation Sect members who ran the operating company of the Sewol Ferry. And where does JYP come into all of this? In 2014, when the Sewol Ferry sank, JYP claimed to have no connection to the Salvation Sect. He claimed that his wife was connected to a company related to the ferry, but that was all. JYP's wife is Yoo Byung-ho's daughter, who is the brother of Yoo Byung-gun. JYP's wife allegedly helped organize and manage the cult's meetings. JYP's preachings also connect him directly to the Salvation Sect's core principles and ideologies. Yoo Byung-gun in June 2014. However, JYP was revealed to have close association with the Saviorists, as he was seen preaching about the Bible being a prophecy on March 20th, 2018. Dispatch pointed out that the language he used was similar to that used by the Salvation Sect, and that the rhetoric JYP used during these meetings mirror the beliefs of the Salvation Sect, such as their view of Jewish people. In the past, JYP has repeatedly claimed to be an atheist. When he appeared on the variety show Healing Camp, JYP claimed to have no interest in joining any religious groups. This was in April 2012. JYP didn't stand during these accusations and took to Instagram to respond, denying involvement with the Salvation Sect. He said, "A Salvation Sect meeting? I paid money to rent a space and teach a Bible study myself, and you're calling it a Salvation Sect meeting? 100 people gathered to hear my lecture, and out of those, a few people from the Salvation Sect came and sat down because they said they wanted to hear my lecture, and you're saying it's a Salvation Sect meeting? How do you plan on taking responsibility for the damage you have done to me and our company and report something like this without checking the truth?" JYP also posted his faith testimony and asked people to read over it carefully. He said that if there were any legal or ethical problems in it, their coverage was appropriate, but if there wasn't, Dispatch would be taking legal responsibility for all the supposed damage they had caused. I'm not sure how anything in the testimonial is supposed to convince people of anything, honestly. On May 5th, the Salvation Sect stated that JYP Entertainment had no connection to the organization, stating, "We're continuing to receive questions about Park Jin-young, so we're organizing the position of the Christian Gospel Baptist Church. JYP does not belong to our denomination and is not active in the church. The meeting in question wasn't our denomination's issue, and we also found out about it through the news." Dispatch didn't back down though, as they responded with another article that doubled down on their claims and also cited sources who told them he was a member. Dispatch stated that for 2 months, it met with several people who were current and former members, as well as insiders and outsiders of the sect, all of whom testified without hesitation that JYP is a member of the Salvation Sect. They said that they received testimony from someone in the entertainment industry who claimed that JYP suggested a separate Bible study. To this, JYP responded with yet another Instagram post that said, "If you infringe on someone's privacy and wrongfully record them to release it to the world, then you need adequate grounds to claim that it will damage society. So I don't understand how they wrote this article without going through the process of confirming with the person. I sincerely hope that these kinds of journalistic practices will change with this incident." The connection between JYP and the Salvation Sect is definitely bothersome, and even if he's not a Salvation Sect member, some of the things that he was captured saying on video definitely creep me out. Stray Kids Hyunjin. As common as it is for tourists to be lured into cults, K-pop idols are no exception. In fact, Stray Kids Hyunjin's favorite fun fact to tell about himself is that he was almost tricked into joining a cult by a strange man, and no, it wasn't JYP. Hyunjin talked about the time when he was almost lured into a cult on V-Live's 2 Kids room. He recollected the time when someone tapped on his shoulder. He initially thought it was someone who might be interested in casting him, and he had plans of rejecting them since he was already a JYP trainee. However, the person stopped him and said that he saw a bad aura from Hyunjin's face and asked him to follow along. After that, Hyunjin said he followed the person and took a bus ride for about 30 minutes before entering a white building. He was told to change into a special outfit, and when he entered a room, he saw people kneeling on the floor in front of a statue. However, when they saw Hyunjin, they stood up and said congratulations to him, after which the person led him to another room and told him to devote the money he had on him to God. Hyunjin gave them 5,000 won and left the building. Surprisingly, he wasn't the only Stray Kids member to have nearly been recruited into a cult. Stray Kids Iann. Iann also revealed that he also had an encounter with a cult member. When Iann was in Gangnam for his holiday, he was approached by a stranger. This stranger was intriguing to him as he somehow guessed all of Iann's personality traits correctly, building a bit of a connection with Iann. This stranger asked if Iann wanted to pray with him, so Iann decided to put his trust in this person and followed the stranger into a house. Okay, have any of these boys watched horror movies? Cause this is the first thing you shouldn't do. When Iann entered the house with the stranger, he found there were people inside as well. But what he saw next was something quite unsettling. It was a piece of paper that had Iann's name written on it. But what was more uncomfortable was what the stranger told Iann to do. He told Iann to burn the paper if he wanted all his wishes to come true. Hearing this, Iann felt this was too weird and decided to leave, but he was grabbed by the stranger. Iann angrily told the man that he had to leave, which left the stranger flustered. However, the stranger asked if Iann would at least burn the paper before leaving, which he did because he felt like he had no other choice, and then left. Looking back, Iann agrees that it was good this situation didn't escalate into something worse. Share your thoughts in the comments. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Bye!